Okay, this is going to basically talk you through some teacher feedback on comparative answers. We're going to look at some previously composed comparative answers. We're going to see where there's room for improvement and what has been done well. Okay, so from there I'm just going to go straight into it, ladies, and here we have a cultural context Part B question. These Part B questions are worth 40 marks. And generally you have to compare 2 texts rather than 3 in them. So we'll just read through the first opening paragraph, which should kind of outline what the answer is going to be about and the texts that are going to be addressed, and I'll give you some feedback on it. So through my studies of the texts HMMB and PHC, under the heading of cultural context, I found that it enriched the experience of the text and made them more enjoyable, but in different ways. I will examine these 2 texts under the headings of class, societal influences, war, religion, and the role of women and men. Okay, ladies, I'm going to edit this so that you can see like what is good and what needs addressing with it. The fact that it has an outline in its introduction is very effective. So, like, this shows that the planning in the answer will be structured, it'll be coherent, and it should gain like a lot of its points for that. Okay. Through my studies is a bit of a cliche opening. Like, a lot of students use the texts I have studied. So I'm just going to put a line through this, and instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to rearrange the sentence. So like under, I'm also going to get rid of, because that doesn't help us. So, and the heading is, just waffle. So we'll remove that. Okay, so how I would do this is the cultural context of the texts, and then comma, and PHC. Now, I'm actually going to insert full stops here because to show the abbreviations of the text titles. So through the cultural context of the texts, HMMB, which is How Many Miles to Babylon, PHC, which I'm not familiar with, I found that it enriched the experience of the text and made them more enjoyable. So we're going to make enriched the textual experience. I'm just rewriting their sentence so that it's a little more eloquent. Enrich the textual experience, and then comma, making it more enjoyable. Okay, we'll stop. Okay, there's a comparative there that will appear to be in different ways. Okay. And then under the headings, no, that sounds too much like a classroom-based activity. We'll just call it issues instead. Because if the teacher has compared a theme or issue question, use it to plan your cultural context questions as well. Like, just take the concepts here and like recycle them wherever possible. Issues such as class. I'm actually going to put societal influences here because it's a broader one to start with. Societal influences, class, and then I'm going to put gender here as the role of men and women, gender, religion, and war, because these are not interchangeable. Therefore, this shouldn't be here. Like, this isn't good, because generally this is for like synonymous words or words which mean the same thing. Okay, and societal influences like class and gender like are quite broad, whereas like war is a very specific one here. Okay, so like you see how this came from like essentially 4 lines or 3.5 lines down to 2.5. That's the efficiency of language use. So you're just rearranging like your initial idea so that it's just a little bit more eloquent and more coherent as an answer. You don't have time to rewrite your answers in an exam, but slow down like your process of putting idea to paper and just see, could you rearrange the idea in your head so that like it's more efficient with its language use and it just sounds a little bit more like articulate rather than starting your text with through my studies of the texts. Like, please try and avoid doing that. Okay. The next paragraph. In How Many Miles to Babylon, Alex is from an upper class family and his mother does not like him associating with lower class Jerry. This is similar to Gar in PHC being middle class and Mr. Dugan being of upper class as his role as senator. In the last night's scene in How Many Miles to Babylon, Jerry and Alex have different ranks in the army because Alex is an officer and Jerry's in the infantry. We can also see the division in class when Mr. Dugan refers to Gar as not being fit to marry his daughter. Okay. I don't have the question here, but it should be paraphrased enough to make it clear in the question. So, like, maybe the question is that the cultural context makes it more enjoyable. So it immediately starts here with How Many Miles to Babylon. What we need to like put into this paragraph here is some sort of topic sentence, so that we put in class conflict between central characters' relationships is common to both texts. Okay, so do you see how, like, this is going to be the point of the paragraph, and then all we really have to do is to just, like, cut and paste this in here so that there's a topic sentence which shows us what the paragraph is going to be about. Okay, so in How Many Miles to Babylon, Alex is from an upper class family. This is quite wordy, an upper class family. So if you just, like, this is what I'm talking about slowing down the pen to paper process. If you just try to rearrange the syntax or the words arrangement in the clause or sentence, it will help you to become more efficient in your language use. So for example, in How Many Miles to Babylon, upper class Alex suffers. Okay, and then I'm just going to put maternal criticism. Okay, for fraternizing with lower class Jerry. Okay, this is similar to Gar in PHC. Okay, so like sometimes what you'll find is that the comparative sentences can get very long if you're trying to address two texts plus comparative words in the sentence. So, like, use comparative words which, like, are less wordy. So, like, similarly, Gar, and then we're going to do the same adjective noun combination here. So we've got middle class Gar, comma, and Mr. Dugan, and okay, upper class Mr. Dugan, senator, like, okay, Mr. Dugan. There's no point being made really, it's just a similarity. Okay, so we go back here. This is similar to let's see, friendship. Okay. In the last night's scene, that's not specific enough, and then we're missing an apostrophe. Okay, in the, like, last night was, like, literally the night is gone. In the final night scene, in How Many Miles to Babylon. Okay, so if we just we'll get rid of that. Then How Many Miles to Babylon, final night scene. Alex and Jerry have different ranks, because Alex is an officer and Jerry is in infantry. Okay, that's actually a bit of an ambiguous sentence because it implies that on the last night of the novel that both characters had different positions in the army, whereas like they had occupied different positions in the army from like the early on in the text because of the fact that they were like from different classes. And let's see, okay, of different ranks in the army, because Alex is, what's the point of this? Okay, let's just say societal position, and its ensuing complications are evident both in, there's a comparative word, in how many miles to Babylon. I'm seeing it very relevant here, as have different ranks in the army. Okay, do you see here how it's have different ranks in the army? It's have different army ranks, and then we save 3 words and just use one as, okay, because Alex is an officer and Jerry is in the infantry. Okay, so we're just going to put adjective noun, officer, it doesn't seem right, office, or as infantry, soldier, let's see, private, and office, Officer Alex have different army ranks. Remove the have because that's a bit of an overly common word to be using at high level, so we'll just use occupy instead. Occupy. We, okay, ladies, remove the we here as well, because like, who's we? Like, unless you're actually schizophrenic, there shouldn't be 2 of you inside in your head. So like, just use I. I can also see, or like this division in class. Okay. This division in class, we're gonna class division is also evident as your text refers to being not being fit. Not being fit, we'll add a prefix to this, and as being as unfit to marry his daughter. Okay. Another key moment. I'm going to remove the other because we've deleted the last night's scene comment. A key moment in the examination of class. In the examination of class, we're just going to put in class examination. Is when, I'm not fond of that phrase, but look, we'll use it for the moment. Alex and Jerry celebrate their last night before enlisting. We see, who's we? Okay. Alex, and then rather than using the present continuous, just use the present simple. Alex sits with his father drinking brandy and Jerry's out celebrating drinking poutine. This is different to the other text when we see Gary worrying on his relationship. Worrying about his relationship with his father on his last night before departing for America. Okay, so the similar key moments in the texts arise the night before departures. That's actually what we're talking about. Okay. Okay. Alex and Jerry celebrate their last night before enlisting. Okay. I'm going to change that. Alex, the mode, the manner in in which